be sharing the 4-hour sweep and break and the 1-hour QMR entry. All right. Yeah. So first, I'm going to start with GBP NZD. Going to the daily, as at the time when I, took the trade, I had a breakout to the upside on the daily. Now, on the weekly, we had the sweep of the previous weekly low, and an expectation that this high would also go. So for us to confirm this from the weekly, as usual, we go to the daily. And on the daily, we had a breakout to the upside. This was on Monday, right? So coming to the chart on Monday, this is what we had, right? We had this daily breakout, confirming our weekly direction. Now, coming up to the 4 hours on that same day, this is where we had the daily breakouts, right? So I got onto the charts and I saw a bit of these formations on Monday. So by Tuesday, I'm expecting that I'll have my entry. Now, going to the line chart, you can see that this is a sweep of liquidity on the 4 hours. Sorry, you could call this is a breakup structure right here. But on the, so here, right here, we have a small, this is a breakup structure. So price broke structure here to the downside first. Swept, so I'll call it like a sweep, right? And then price broke structure here. So anytime I see price giving me even if it's a small breakout or an internal breakout, a very small one, and it breaks structure, right? Much clearer on NZD-JPY. Once it does that, I just go to the 1 hour and look for a QM, right? And this was the perfect QM for me from this zone right here. So as at the time I got on the charts, I only had this breakup structure right here. I had this sweep of liquidity and I had this breakup structure. And so all I did was to tag my entry here. And again, I'm still doing too much with my stop loss. Eventually, I would readjust after I study really hard what will work best for me. But for now, I like big stop loss. I don't like to worry. If I'm getting stopped out, let me know that I'm getting stopped out for a proper invalidation. So my stop loss is still usually a bit big. So this was it. This was the first trade so I was done with this trade by Wednesday, I think. So I had another entry from the 4 hours. The second entry I missed. So I was expecting something here or here. I'm not sure yet. But I had a second entry that missed by a whisker. I had that entry missed me just by a whisker, and it was because of the night. Something happened in the night. On my MT5, it actually triggered. I mean, it's price past it, but it just didn't pick me up. This was likely in the midnight Nigerian time. So this is American time. Yeah, so plus 5 hours, that is about 10 a.m. About 11 a.m. So that's exactly what happened. I had my entry here for my second, my second entry was about something like this, but I personally missed it on MT5. I was just targeting this high, right? After this, let me see, I think there was a 4-hour breakup structure. There was none yet, but there was a retracement into this fair value gap, and this previous 4-hour low was taken. The high was still standing. So my expectation was that price will come back here. Price will come back to this zone and then tag me at least to this zone. So, but I missed this. This didn't trigger on my MT5, but it was also a very clean entry. So this was good trade breakdown for GBP NZD. The target here was fair, but there could have been a higher target on the second, right here. This high was bound to also go, and it did actually go before there was this reversal. So that was the trade on GBP. Now for NZD-JPY, I'd been bearish, to be honest. I'd been bearish. So my trade started from the weekly, from the daily rather. So I have one of the models that I like to trade is just having a gap after a massive expansion, and then just, so I was really just expecting that this would be my weekly liquidity. So after that was taken, I also had this zone, this open close key level on the daily. This one here is my expectation for next week up to here. So what I had on my trade was I had this previous daily high, swept right here, and it tapped into this open close. Now, this is where it gets interesting because I thought I made a mistake on my trade. Made a mistake. That's where setting your targets is very, very important. So this was supposed to be my main target, but my expectation was that this weekly candle, and that's again, you don't do expectation. You have an expectation, but when the market shows you something, so you actually should act. My expectation was price would get here and then close below here and give me a very clean swing trade all the way back down. But let me go back to the 4 hours. You will see that price was almost closing below that my expectation. And obviously, if it did, it means that price would get up to here. So what I had as my main target was then this liquidity here. Was it this one? Because it was just a few pips, to be honest. I don't know if it was, I think it was here. This was where my target was on my trade. Instead of me to target for sure the daily liquidity, which was this one, I targeted here and I paid very dearly for it. So, but for the entry model, which was the 4 hours sweep and break. So in this situation, you can see that there is a sweep of liquidity right here. There's a sweep of liquidity, and just below it, there's a break of structure. What did I say? All I need to do is go down to the 1 hour and look for a QM, either the 2 hours or the 1 hour, any one. So once I drop down to the 2 hours, I have this QM, and I have the same QM, similar QM on the 1 hour, right? So that marks, it's a very mechanical entry. So with that, you can target the daily, previous daily low, and a very clean trade. It was a 5R because I had a very conservative stop loss. I think it was a 4-point-something R. As usual, I had a conservative stop loss. I don't like when price is getting too close to the end of my stop loss. So I'm more comfortable when I have room. And then when price is getting there, I'm not worried. That's why I usually have a big stop loss. So when I manage psychology to the level where I don't care, I'll change my stop loss to be slimmer. So this was the trade. Again, the 4-hour QMR and the 4-hour sweep and break, the 4-hour QMR entry. So that was it for me. So what happened to me eventually was I had my stop loss here, and it just reversed a few pips. And then I was like, nah, price would definitely reverse, right? And then I took another entry right here. It met a few of my criteria. It swept liquidity here, swept previous 4-hour liquidity, gave me a gap here, gave me a confirmation entry for an engulfing confirmation entry on the 1 hour. And so I had my entry right here, and my target was again just this zone here. So and I had a fair enough stop loss. Gave me some small profits before it's reversed and I had a loss. And I had a double position. I double, as usual, when I'm here, I double my position, use leveraging my profits from this guy. I usually double my position, even though my risk on the first one is actually 0.5% of my account. So this one is usually about 1%. Sometimes it's even less. So I'm still usually very safe, not within my drawdown. Anyways, so I had this, I took this second loss, and then I still didn't close until I had a body closure above here. So it was a ridiculous. If I show you my MT5, it's like I went all the way here, round tripped it, and came here instead of me to have just taken my profits at this zone. Sometimes at the end of the day, you'll be like, oh, why didn't I leave it to run? And then it goes. But at the same time, that's why a rule is a rule. It's very important that if you set your rule as, oh, you're going to let the runner go and you're going to take profit at the daily liquidity, that's how it should be. So that's one feedback for myself. I need to just figure out if I'm going to take the, if I'm going to continue with, letting runners go or whatever. So that was those two trades. But later on, when I saw how the week closed, I realized that we are aligned bullish, and we should be having something fair enough because we had a daily breakout already. So this should be a good high to start to look at, or at least this open close right here. Now on the daily, we had double breakup structure to the upside. So we had this breakup structure reaction from here. We have a sweep of the previous daily low, and the high was still standing. But as at now, we have a breakout to the upside. So it means that we are following the weekly storyline, and at least if anything at all, we should be targeting somewhere. The first take profit can be somewhere around here for this pair. This is what I'll be looking at, just to continue price, because we have a 4-hour breakout. And in fact, the first 4-hour breakout that we had, we're actually ready to align for a buy. And then I was still very blinded by the possibility that price will reverse. Otherwise, I could have taken something like this to this high, probably. Could have taken this right here. But I was still blinded by the buy. So on the 1 hour, what that looked like was a confirmation, front one confirmation entry, sweep off this low and then take it all the way up, right? Anyway, so that's it. So we have, for next week, we have a breakout to the upside. I'll just be looking for, I'll be looking for this low to go, this low to go, and, something coming into my gap right here and take it up all the way up. I've said this thing before. This candle, like you see, it's a candle that doesn't make any decision, but it's a very strong candle, right? So you can expect that it will go. Once this low goes, you can expect this gap to likely hold, and then you will be taking price to any of those liquidity targets above. And either you do the normal, whatever your target usually is, maybe a 3-hour, or you can just take it up to this liquidity target at least. That will be one of my fresh trades for next week. I'm going to be studying really hard this week because last week I was almost non-existent. I took those 2 trades, which was a trade and a half, basically. So that's what I have. So if we have any questions, I think I had an outlook for USD CAD, but I'm just expecting some move back up here and to sell. I had my first sell position here. My first sell position was here. So again, this is one instance where I should have held it. If I had held it, I'll have passed my 25K account by now. But yeah, I haven't still passed it to this too because I was focusing on my other funded account. So in the next 2 weeks, I plan to just focus on the 25K account and pass it. So expectation for USD CAD still very bearish. I don't really have any other expectation. XAUSD is still playing with me, but I think I had something on Japan. 2 to 5. Not really. This is not like a very solid A plus setup, but I had this expectation. So okay. So if there are any questions, I think we can just take a couple of questions and that's if there is. Isaac, I saw your message this morning and well done with how far you're going. If there's anybody that has any questions, please you can ask. You can go ahead
Okay,
and
I have
ask.
a question, boss.
Yes, sure.
Sorry. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so I am still kind of being conflicted with like, okay, let's say one of those trade I sent
Mm,
to you that it's my outlook or for gold and NAS 100. For the gold, I think in the 4 hours time frame, it didn't give like the single candle liquidity stuff and
mm,
then tap into the tap into the 4 hours breakout.
mm,
It didn't give the single candle liquidity, but it just like entered into the 4 hour EOI zone. You
mm.
understand? So like but in the 2 hours it gave. Now I'm like trying to figure out if it doesn't give in the 4 hours, does it mean that in the 2 hours, like when it gives in the 2 hours, is it valid?
It depends on your rules. If you have a rule that you focus on 4 hours, then if it doesn't show up on the 4 hour, then you shouldn't be interested in that idea. Now, I took a loss. I didn't share that one. I actually took a loss on XAU last week. I had um, I had a zone. Let me check. Yeah, I had a daily zone. So I had this zone here. I'll remember my entry. It was 70. I had a sell. Now, why did I take that sell? I had this break of structure and I had this fair value gap right here. And I also had this liquidity right here. So I didn't take a confirmation entry. I took a direct entry and I had my stop loss somewhere here. So I was actually wicked out. I had my stop loss. I'll tell you why I had my stop loss there also. I think it was from the 1 hour. So it was even my stop loss was wrong, but it's just because my entry was also too early. But I had this, and the only reason why I took that is because from the daily, I had a break of structure right here. I should have been expecting this anyways, and I did expect it. But I was focused on where the 4 hour fair value gap was. This was a filled fair value gap, but this was not filled. So I was focused on here. I'll get to where I'm going. Now, for my rules, I don't like to look at 2 hours, except if I'm going for entry or I'm looking for liquidity. So you need to focus on your rule. Now, for me, I'm not seeing a sell on XAU at this point, but I'm not engaged in XAU either. Now, the reason why is clear. We don't have a 4 hour breakout, but let me check and confirm that whether we have a 4 hour breakout. Uh, I don't think we have a 4 hour breakout, but if we don't have a 4 hour breakout, my rule is not complete. So I liked when you shared it with me, I liked that you were able to create a proper story as to why you wanted to buy. But I was asking you to check the overall, um,
No, I
the
wanted to say
overall.
I wanted to sell actually.
You wanted to sell. I know you wanted to sell. That's what I was saying. Like for you, I don't know why you gave me a clean reason to sell. On the 4 hours, there's a break of structure on the daily, there's a break of structure to the downside. Also, there's a break of structure to the downside here. But you are unable to see a 4 hour break to the downside, right? But you said you saw on the 2 hours, right? You say you saw on the 2 hours, but you also
Yeah,
saw
the
you didn't see
liquidity.
single candle liquidity, right?
Yes.
Again, we are back. There are two ways to build your bias. You either use single candle, three ways actually: single candle liquidity, key levels, or use both. Now, in this instance, you have a 2 hour break, and this is even to the upside. I can't see any 2-hour break to the downside, except this one, except to the downside, except this one and then this one, right? This is the last, this is the most recent breakout to the downside on the 4 hours is there. Now, what you'll be expecting to happen on Friday to confirm any buy or any sell, but I'm seeing more buys, is that this gap is already holding right here. This gap is holding price. You can expect maybe a small retracement down. And then what's likely supposed to happen, again, its expectation is that price will come here, give you a breakout, complete your daily expectation because you have a sweep of the previous daily high, that's previous weekly low as single candle liquidity. So what you are looking for to confirm your bias is a break of structure on the 4 hours, right? Price is already giving us indication based on all these candles that it wants to buy. But you need your confirmation when you have this break of structure happen to the upside. So once you have this solid break of structure on the 4 hours, you are just looking for confirmation on the 1 hour if XAU is going to give you. And this exact zone looks like something very solid that would actually take price up. If it's disrespected, just know price is coming back here to buy. So that's what I see currently. But what's always important, that's why I gave you kudos, is build your story, have a reason, a logical reason why you want to buy or sell. That's the first thing. Then you can, add all the other things. So, yeah, so that's what I see currently. So someone said I should check Japan 225. My sell is simple from the daily. I have a tap into this. Let me check weekly first. I don't know. Yeah. So the expectation for last week was done. We're expecting that all of this candle high would go. So it went. You can expect a reversal after external liquidity is taken. But here, there's also a tap into this breakout, to that weekly breakout, a rejection and a closure. Not a very strong rejection and closure, but it's still a rejection and closure. Now, on the daily, we have single candle liquidity taken from the previous day. And on the 4 hour, we had a breakout to the downside. So my expectation is just, advanced market structure. Price has created this high, from this low to this high, this low, this break of structure, create liquidity, and then come and then give me this. So this is why I'm selling, why I intend to sell. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So I'm just looking at this structure. It has given us advanced market structure here. So I'm just expecting a tap here and a small sell to this zone. So it gets to this daily gap and you can, because we are overall bullish. So this is at most a reversal. So you can expect that it will tap into this gap right here on the daily after taking this candle as liquidity and, probably just continue the buys. But if I'm going to get into any trade early on the week, it's for this sell, right? It's just a very quick sell and then I'm out. So that's why I have this setup ready, if I'm ready to risk it or not. So it's advanced market structure basically and a reversal setup. So let me see if there's anything else. So if there are no other questions, yeah.
Okay, I have another question, boss. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to know if the principles of basic market structure, following the market structure apply to how you use your key level. For instance, let's say, in last 100 now, price has been bullish and giving higher highs, higher lows, like price has been bullish overall. So, like if price is rejecting from an A-shaped key level, for instance, do you consider it as trying to, let's say price has been bullish overall, but then price is rejecting from an A-shaped key level in the daily. Now, if it gives a 4-hour breakout to the downside, do you consider it as a valid, trade, considering if it meets all your criteria? even when market is bullish overall.
Again, it depends on your rules. It's ideal that you only take trades in line or with structure. It doesn't mean you can't take reversal trades. They are most likely less, they'll give you less win rates. So it just depends on your rules. If you've taken enough losses on reversal trades, only your sense will tell you not to do that again. So for me now, if I decide I'm going to take my Japan 225 trade, which is a reversal trade at this point, although more recently Japan 225, before last week, it has been bearish, right? But yeah, if I decide to take this current reversal trade and I lose, I need to figure out why I took the trade. It's a valid trade. But if your rules tell you it must be in line with overall structure, it means that for Japan 225, you should not even have taken, because Japan 225 has been bearish on the weekly. On the monthly, it's bullish, right? Actually, it's bullish across board. So, but only after this break of structure, all of this were reversal trades. So it means that you should not have taken any of these sells if you are only focusing on higher time frame buyers. What you'll have been waiting for is the confirmation that we are back to bullish ways. So, but if you know what you're doing, you can take some level of reversal trades. But if your rule tells you, no, I must stick with my overall higher time frame bias, whether it's from the monthly or from the weekly, then stick with that. So that depends on your rules. Now, if you go down, I was looking at this NAS 100 now. You were asking me, do I look at structure? This right here is advanced market structure. This right here on the lower time frame is advanced market structure. Right? Price, sorry, for the buy swap liquidity, yeah, this is a range, and hey, I'm running out of time already. Yeah, so by the time you come down to the daily, to the 1 hour, you see that this is advanced market structure. Price created a high, gave us liquidity, in fact, double liquidity, but just tag them as one, and gave us this, and gave us a break of structure to the upside. That's advanced market structure. So yes, I do focus on, because you are trading structure, liquidity, and key levels. So why wouldn't you pay attention to structure? So on the higher time frame, it's just a sweep of liquidity, but on the lower time frame, it's structure. So yeah, I hope this helps. I mean, everything is combined together. So you have to definitely pay attention to structure. Overall structure, which is bullish, but also internal structures. Where does price want to take liquidity and where is it going to? So that's why I marked out all of these zones, because I know that when I go down to the lower time frame, I'll see advanced market structure. Right. So yeah, I hope that helps. But we are done for today. I don't think there are any further questions. Isaac, without pain, you've done a whole mentorship with me since November last year. So yeah, this one, we've answered a ton of questions, and I'm happy that there's so much progress. That's what I want. Like, I want every single person that is here, even if I'm not doing paid for now, but I want to see the results from everyone that, actually is following everything that I do. That just validates that, there's actually a lot of value, right? So I truly hope that these things that I'm doing every week also truly improves us till we get to where we wish to be. All right, so thank you everyone for joining this week. This weekend is some crazy studying I'm going to be doing. Next week, I really want to come in very hot. So